Signing on. Brian here, bringing you the official Loft Sports podcast on the Loft Sports Podcasting Network. The official Loft Sports podcast can be found wherever you consume your podcast. Check out our website at loftsportus.com. Follow us on X, YouTube, and TikTok at Loft Sports USA. So tonight we're going to talk Olympic hockey as the U.S. men's national team just completed their game against Sweden, a thrilling 2-1 win in overtime. Quinn Hughes buries the game winner at 3:21 in overtime, and the U.S. men's national team will be moving on to the semifinals. It was really, a really thrilling day for the men's Olympic hockey tournament. 3 of the 4 games went into overtime, and now the semifinals are set to be played this upcoming Friday. What I want to do for tonight's show, I'm going to talk about how the tournament has played out so far. I want to summarize what's happened to date so far in the men's ice hockey bracket for the Olympics. And then I want to close by getting into some college basketball, as we've got some enormous games upcoming this weekend. So the men's Olympic hockey tournament reached the knockout phase yesterday, and the field was narrowed down to 8 teams coming into today. So I'll give a summary of what's happened through today and give you an update on where we stand now with the semifinal games coming up on Fridays. So we've got the top seeds in the knockout phase. As expected, the United States and Canada, they dominated the group stage. They both won a perfect 3-0. Canada secured the number 1 seed with a massive dominating win over France the other day with a score of 10-2. Connor McDavid, he's leading the tournament thus far with 12 points, which is actually surpassed the previous NHL era record for most points in an Olympic tournament, which was actually previous held by Teemu Selanne, the Finnish Flash, and Saku Koivu. They had the record, and now Connor McDavid has since surpassed that, so setting a new record for this Winter Olympics this year. Then I want to talk a little bit about here. So Macklin Celebrini, who has been sensational for Team Canada, who at the age of 19, let me repeat this, Macklin Celebrini is only 19 years old, and he has been dominant for Canada in the Winter Olympics. So thus far, he's got 5 goals and 2 assists for 7 points. He's set the record for most goals scored by a teenager at a single Olympic tournament. He's playing against grown men here, and he's dominating them. So it looks like the Sharks got a great one here. They probably still won't make the playoffs this year, right? They don't have the full complement of pieces around Celebrini yet, but their rebuild is being sped up by how special this kid is here. And he's going to continue to get faster and stronger and better. And the NHL will be his league someday in the next few years, sooner rather than later. So Celebrini and McDavid carrying the Canadian Team Canada as a hockey team. The USA, they earned the number 2 seed, capped off by a 5-1 victory over Germany this past Sunday. Austin Matthews has led Team USA in the tournament. Slovakia won Group B in a 3-team tiebreaker, while Finland secured the 4th automatic bye into the quarterfinals due to their goal differential. It really helped them that they beat Italy 11-0 the other day. So those were the 4 teams that earned the byes, and the bottom 8 teams played yesterday, and these were the scores of the games that happened yesterday. So Germany beat France 5-1, Switzerland over Italy 3-0, Czechia 3, Denmark 2, and Sweden beat Latvia by a score of 5-1. So there were no upsets yesterday, as all the favorites won as expected. And this led to today's matchups. And as I mentioned, 3 of the 4 games went into overtime. So it was really a thrilling game today for at least 3 of the games. The first game was the early game on the East Coast. Slovakia beat Germany by a score of 6-2. And then in the mid-morning game, we had Canada and Czechia. So Canada beat Czechia by a score of 4-3 in overtime. Mitch Marner scores a minute and 22 into OT to win it for Canada. Czechia at one point was leading this game 3-2 with 5 minutes to go in the game. And then Nick Suzuki scored to tie the game at 3. And then Mitch Marner's goal in OT sends Canada to the semifinals. Really the big story, though, coming out of this game for Team Canada is the status of Sidney Crosby, their captain. So he took a big hit in this game in the second period. He didn't return to the game, so his status looks to be in question for Canada's next game on Friday in the semis. So after the game, Canada coach John Cooper said Crosby is going to undergo an MRI to get an image done on his lower body. It's a lower body injury that he suffered. So we'll see what Crosby's status is after the results of that MRI. So, of course, Crosby missing any time wouldn't just be a huge loss for Team Canada, but a huge loss for the Penguins too. If he needs to miss extended time. Right now, the Penguins are currently positioned in a playoff spot, and Crosby is leading them in points and assists. So any missed time coming back when the NHL freeze is over is going to be potentially detrimental to the Penguins. Third game of the day, Finland 3, Switzerland 2, also in overtime. So we got back-to-back overtime games here. The Swiss were up 2-0 heading into the third period, and the Finns got goals from Arturi Lehkonen at 3:23 and Sebastian Aho at 13:54 to tie the game and sent it into overtime. Then in OT, Lehkonen again to win the game in overtime. So Finland with 3 unanswered goals to advance to the semifinals. So the Swiss really blew this game. They were up, like I said, 2-0 going into the third. This is going to be a loss that I'm sure they're going to be stewing on for the next 4 years until 2030 comes along. And then, of course, the game that we just saw, a third overtime today, so back-to-back overtime games. The USA defeats Sweden by the score of 2-1. Team USA got some great goaltending today from Connor Hellebuck, who stopped 28 of 29 shots from the Swedes. And the Swedish goalie, too, Jacob Markstrom, had a strong game, stopping 38 of 40 attempts. It was a very contested game. It was scoreless after one. And then the USA's Dylan Larkin scored at 11:03 of the second period to give Team USA the lead, 1-0. Then, fast forward to late in the third, Mika Zibanejad from Sweden ties the game at 1 with 1:31 remaining in regulation. And then, of course, in overtime, Quinn Hughes rings it off the post to win it for Team USA. Thrilling win, and shoots Team USA into the semifinals. So I'm going to have to check the schedule here now. I believe the next game for Team USA, I believe that they play Slovakia next, and Canada plays Finland. So actually what ended up happening was the 4 teams that received the byes, all 4 of those teams actually made it through here. So I'm going to just check. Let's see, do they have the schedule out yet? I don't see the schedule. Let me check on X to see if it's posted real quick. Of course, everybody, it was good that both USA and Canada won today. Of course, there's still the potentiality of the USA and Canada meeting in the gold medal game, which would be played on Sunday. So let's just see if I can check. Team USA, their next game. So, yep, I was correct. So the USA will be playing Slovakia in the semifinals, and Canada will be playing Finland. So those will be the 2 games that are played this upcoming Friday. And then the winners of those 2 games will play each other in the gold medal game, which will be on early Sunday morning East Coast time. It's at 8:10 in the morning. So try not to party too hard Saturday night. You got a big game to watch Sunday morning for potentially, right? It could be it could be Slovakia versus Finland, and this country won't care about it. But we're hoping to get that USA Canada matchup here. The bronze medal game would be played on Saturday. So right, if USA and Canada both lose, they'll still potentially play each other in the bronze medal game. Of course, the stakes won't be as high in that game. So, but yeah, it's been a real thrilling Olympic hockey tournament. I've been able to watch where I can. Of course, I do have a day job, and that kind of takes me away from my phone or a television, so or even a laptop sometimes. So, it's been an awesome tournament. You know, it was kind of I thought maybe the first round, or I shouldn't say the first round, but the group stage was maybe a little on the slower side. There were a lot of blowouts. And even the games yesterday, a lot of them weren't really that close, but today definitely delivered in the men's Olympic ice hockey bracket. So we've got 4 games left now, the 2 semis, the bronze medal game and the gold medal game. And we'll look to see how the rest of the tournament plays out. But yeah, as you can tell in my voice, I'm still excited after that big Team USA win. Of course, me being a Rangers fan, I saw Mika Zibanejad tie the game for Sweden, and I'm like, oh god, like those are Ranger fans need. You want, you want a player on your team sticking it to your national team, tying the game and trying to potentially end their Olympic hopes for a gold medal. But yeah, Team USA was able to pull that one out in overtime, which was awesome. So, yeah, so let's move on from hockey now. I want to get into some college hoops, as it was a real chaotic week. And it was a chaotic week that's seen a lot of top teams take losses. So there's been there's been some shifting around of the top ranked teams. So for the first time in 13 years, the Michigan Wolverines are the number 1 ranked team in the AP Top 25, and they're currently sitting at 25-1. And last night they just had a big win over Purdue last night on the road in Purdue. Michigan was able to really take control of the game early. They went on a 13-0 run, and they took a 23-10 lead at one point. Then they went on another run of a 14-4 run, which led to a 44-22 lead towards the end of the first half, and really Purdue just couldn't catch up with them. They couldn't keep up with them from there. So Monday night, 2 nights ago, we actually had another big game. Number 2 Houston going to number 6 Iowa State. Iowa State has had a crazy past few games. They lost to TCU on February 10th. And TCU's been an okay team, but for a team like Iowa State, the way that they've played this year, it was a it was a really disappointing loss. So they lose that game to TCU. Then on Valentine's Day, they host Kansas, right, who was coming off that big win over the previous number 1, the Arizona Wildcats, and they beat Kansas. And Iowa State, they didn't just beat Kansas; they really pummeled them pretty good. Final score was 74-56, and then, of course, Iowa State followed that up by beating Houston 70-67 the other night. So Iowa State closed that game against Houston on a 17-4 run. So Iowa State, they stumble against TCU, and then they beat 2 top 10 teams. So Iowa State looking very strong right now, as they have a couple more games left before they get ready for the Big 12 tournament. Another hot team right now in college hoops is the Florida Gators. Florida is currently ranked number 12 in the country. They've won 11 of 12 games. 5 of those wins are against ranked teams in the SEC, and they're currently sitting at first place in the standings in the SEC. So right now, Florida is looking like the number 1 seed in the SEC tournament, which will get started in a couple of weeks, just like the rest of the conference tournaments. And I do want to give a special shout out here to Miami, Ohio, the Red Hawks. They're still undefeated. They're the last undefeated team in the country at 26-0 currently. They're ranked number 22 in the country, that being due to the schedule that they play. They haven't played a ranked team all year, and when your best win of the year is against Air Force, that's why you're ranked where you are. But with Miami, Ohio, we won't be able to properly assess them until we get to the tournament, and I'll be curious to see what seed the committee assigns to them. If they in fact do, I mean, even if they don't go undefeated, even if they lose in the conference tournament, if they only have 1 loss, I'd still be curious to see where they're going to be seeded in the big dance itself. want to get to now. So there's some really big college games upcoming this weekend. We have two massive, massive games, and this might possibly be this really might possibly be what the Final Four looks like come late March into April. So clear your schedules for Sunday. Not only do you have the gold medal game in the men's Olympic hockey bracket, but you also have two great college basketball matchups. So the first matchup I want to talk about, you've got number 4 Arizona at number 2 Houston. So this is a battle for the number 1 seed in the Big 12. You've got Arizona, who wants to run teams out of the gym. They have the most explosive offense in the country. Now, coming into this game, they've lost 2 in a row. And with the way they've played all season, they don't want to lose this game to Houston. They don't want to possibly lose out on being the Big 12 regular season champions. So then you've got Houston, who actually has the nation's number 1 scoring defense. They only allow 61 points a game. They are elite at forcing turnovers. And on the offensive class, they are strong with their rebounding ability. So a lot of folks from what I've seen, a lot of folks believe this is going to be a really tightly contested game. It can go either way. I would look for Houston's defense, though, to kind of stymie Arizona here, unless Arizona is able to beat Houston really up and down the court and run on them. But if Houston can get set and get their defense ready and be able to, force Arizona into a half-court game, I think Houston will prevail in a close game. So you've got that game, and then the second game of the day, you've got number 1 Michigan versus number 3 Duke. This is actually being played at a neutral site. This game is in D.C. at the Capital One Arena, which, of course, rare this late in the year for a non-conference game to be played. But, this was scheduled deliberately right before this season. I mean, who knew Michigan and Duke were going to be, 2 of the top 3 teams here playing this late in the year? But Michigan is averaging 90 points a game this season, which is 4th in the country, and they're 3rd nationally in assists per game. Duke is only giving up 63 points a game, which is 3rd in the country. So you've got a big-time matchup here in this game with Duke's Cameron Boozer. He averages a double-double, 22 and 10, going up against Michigan's Ade Mara, who is a premier shot blocker. That matchup very well could decide the game. Whichever team wins this game will virtually lock up a number 1 seed in the tournament, and whoever wins will solidify themselves as the favorite come tournament time. So this Sunday you've got massive games all day. You got the potentially U.S. and Canada in the gold medal game in the morning, and then you've got the 2 big college hoop games in the afternoon at, I think it's 3 and 6:30. Yeah, three massive games. We also this week the NBA is coming back from All-Star break, so they're starting back up on Thursday. So actually, we got a good one right off the tip on Thursdays. The Pistons are visiting the Knicks. The Knicks should be motivated in that one after the Pistons really, they beat the hell out of them in Detroit a few weeks ago. So that's a big game to look forward to. Right now, the Knicks are 2nd in the conference, and right now they could possibly be the one team that can challenge Detroit. As you heard on previous podcasts, I'm also very high on the Cleveland Cavaliers to challenge Detroit. But you got the number 1 team in the East versus the number 2 in the East. So the NFL might be over for the season, but there's still plenty of big games to watch. Speaking of the NFL, all right, I'm going to be back on the pod on Friday with our guy Tommy. We're going to do a special NFL free agency pod, an early look at which players could sign where and some of our best fits relating to specific team needs. I also just saw it was announced the Seattle Seahawks are up for sale. So the estate of Paul Allen is putting them up for sale as basically part of Paul Allen's will was that he wanted the team to be sold after his passing. So now the estate, his family is going to look to fulfill his wishes. So if any folks listening, you got a few $1 billion lying around, maybe we put all our money in a pot and maybe make an offer here to buy the Seahawks. So I'm curious to see what their market value is going to be. What do you think? Are we going to get close to like Like, are we going to get close to like what, 15 billion, 15 to 20 billion dollars here? I mean, I would not be surprised if it got that high. I really wouldn't be surprised for an NFL franchise. I mean, team that just won the Super Bowl has a pretty good past 20-year history or so. I mean, I could definitely see, there'll be a high price whoever comes forward to buy the Seattle Seahawks. So we'll see. But yeah, Friday night, free agency pod with Tommy. And we'll get into at least the beginning of free agency. We've got free agency technically doesn't start until March 9th. Players can start negotiating with players. Players can start negotiating with agents. So that'll be on the 9th, and we got a couple weeks to really talk free agency for the NFL. So fear not, NFL ain't going anywhere. We're still talking NFL, even though the season's over. All right. Thanks for chilling with me today. The Loft Sports Podcast can be found wherever you consume your podcasts. Please rate and review. Don't forget to give us those 5 stars. Check out our website at loftsportus.com. Check out our articles. Drop a comment and a rating on your favorite one. Please give us some feedback. We're really trying to grow the Loft Sports brand, and feedback is the best way to help us get better. So don't forget to follow Loft Sports on X, YouTube, and TikTok. We are at Loft Sports USA. See you later. Signing off.